You know, people often say you can tell how much someone loves you by the way they look at you across a crowded room. But the truth is, you can really tell when the doors are closed, the lights are low, and there's no audience, just the two of you. Because when a man is deeply in love, the things he does in that private space speak louder than any words he could ever say. When a man is deeply in love, his presence in bed shifts from simply participating in a physical act to creating a shared emotional experience. It's not just about touch, movement, or the mechanics of intimacy. It's about an attentiveness that feels almost tangible, as if the space between you is charged with something more than desire. When love is present, the way he is with you in that moment is different. His mind isn't wandering to work deadlines or distracted by his phone on the nightstand. His focus is singular. He is there, with you, fully aware of the sound of your breathing, the warmth of your skin, and the subtle changes in your expression. He reads you without words, noticing when you relax, when you tense, and what makes you smile in the quiet moments. This is not a skill learned through habit alone. It's the natural outcome of truly caring about the person you're with. Being emotionally present in bed means he is engaged in the entire experience, not just the physical outcome. He is attuned to the rhythm of your responses, adapting and adjusting without you needing to say a word. If you shift closer, he notices. If your breathing slows, he matches that calm. If you laugh in a tender or awkward moment, he laughs with you, embracing the authenticity instead of breaking the mood. He understands that intimacy is fluid, that it can move from playful to passionate to deeply comforting within the same encounter, and he's comfortable moving with it. This emotional alignment doesn't come from a checklist of techniques, but from genuine connection. He wants you to feel seen and cherished, not just physically satisfied. In those moments, love transforms the atmosphere. There's an ease to his presence because he's not performing for an imagined standard or trying to impress you with something he's read or heard works in bed. He's not concerned with looking flawless. Instead, he's immersed in making the experience meaningful for both of you. He takes his time, not rushing toward the end, but valuing the journey. Every kiss, every pause, and every look becomes part of a conversation you're having without words. That unspoken dialogue is one of the most powerful signs of love in intimacy. It's not about what he's doing to you, but what you're creating together. A man who is emotionally present will also make space for silence without it feeling awkward. In fact, those quiet moments can feel even more intimate than the physical act itself. When he holds you and just breathes with you, there's a level of safety that says you don't need to constantly fill the space with movement or noise. It's the kind of presence that makes you feel not just desired, but deeply valued. That sense of safety allows vulnerability to surface. You might find yourself opening up, saying things you hadn't planned to, or simply feeling more at ease in your own skin. This is because his emotional presence communicates, even without words, that you are accepted exactly as you are. When love fuels intimacy, attention to detail becomes second nature. He'll notice if you're cold and pull the blanket over you without breaking the connection. He'll sense when you want closeness without asking and shift his body to meet yours. His hands will linger, not just in moments of passion, but also in moments of stillness, as if to reassure you he's there. This isn't about obligation or habit. It's an instinctive extension of care. You become more than a partner in that moment. You are someone whose comfort and happiness matter deeply to him. There is also a level of patience in the way he moves through intimacy when he's truly in love. He's not afraid to slow down, to let the moment breathe. He understands that rushing can strip away the layers of connection that make the experience meaningful. Instead of seeing intimacy as a goal to achieve, he treats it as a shared space to explore. This creates an atmosphere where you both can express yourselves fully, without pressure or expectation, because his focus is not just on physical satisfaction, but on deepening the bond between you. This kind of presence also makes him more receptive. If you guide him with your touch or adjust his movements, he responds without defensiveness. There's no ego in the way because the foundation of the experience is love, not performance. He wants to meet you where you are, to understand what you need in that exact moment, and to give without keeping score. That willingness to adapt, to listen with more than his ears, comes from a place of genuine devotion. When a man is emotionally present like this, you can feel it in the smallest details. The way his eyes stay on yours in moments of stillness, the way his voice softens when he speaks, the way his hands seem to hold both your body and your heart at the same time. These are not conscious strategies he's employing. They are natural expressions of what he feels for you. Love changes the quality of his attention, turning what could be a physical act into something layered, rich, and deeply human. And in that space, the boundaries between physical and emotional connection blur until they become one and the same. When a man is deeply in love, intimacy becomes a place where he allows himself to be vulnerable in ways he would never risk with someone he doesn't truly trust. Vulnerability in bed isn't just about revealing his body, it's about revealing his emotions, his insecurities, and the softer parts of himself that he might hide in other areas of life. In everyday situations, he may carry a certain confidence, a role he plays for the world, but in that private space, those layers can fall away. Love gives him the safety to do that. You may see it in the way his expression changes, how his eyes linger on yours longer than they would in a purely physical connection, or in the way he lets moments stretch out without trying to control them. His guard drops, and that creates an entirely different kind of closeness. There's an openness in the way he touches you when he's in love. It's not rushed or mechanical, but infused with a kind of reverence. He's not afraid to show that he adores you, not just to convey desire, but to let you feel valued. That might be in how he runs his fingers gently across your skin without any agenda, how he kisses you slowly and deeply, or how he takes time to just hold you before anything begins. This willingness to linger in those softer moments reveals a comfort with emotional intimacy that is rare without love. He's allowing himself to feel without shielding those feelings behind bravado. Sometimes, vulnerability shows itself in what he says. When a man is in love, he might whisper things that come from a very raw place. Not rehearsed compliments or practiced lines, but honest confessions. It could be something as simple as, "I love you," in a tone that makes you believe it fully, or a remark about how beautiful you look in that exact moment without any filter. These are not just words of attraction, they are emotional markers, pieces of himself that he's giving you because he wants you to know how deeply you affect him. In love, he's not afraid of sounding sentimental or soft because those feelings are real and he trusts you with them. There's also a particular way he reacts to your vulnerability in return. When you open up, whether by showing emotion, revealing insecurities, or simply being your unguarded self, he meets that with acceptance instead of judgment. In bed, this might look like him holding you closer if you express self-consciousness, reassuring you without making it awkward, or simply making you feel safe in your own body. Love sharpens his sensitivity to these moments, and instead of glossing over them, he leans into them. This creates an environment where you both can be more authentic, which deepens the bond you share. When a man is deeply in love, the way he expresses affection in bed often blurs the lines between passion and comfort. You might notice he spends as much time in post-intimacy moments as he does in the act itself, lying with you, tracing patterns on your skin, or gently brushing your hair away from your face. There's an ease to these gestures because they're not calculated. They come naturally when his feelings run deep. He's not rushing to get dressed or move on to something else because the emotional connection matters as much as the physical one. In that space, his actions are not about performance but about presence, and that is where vulnerability thrives. There's a distinct emotional risk in vulnerability that love makes possible. For many men, the fear of being misunderstood, rejected, or seen as weak can keep emotional expression guarded. But love acts like a safety net, making it possible to show parts of himself he may have hidden from everyone else. This could be the way his voice softens when he tells you something personal, or the way he lets you see him when he's not at his most confident. He may reveal past hurts, insecurities, or dreams for the future in those quiet, intimate moments, knowing you'll receive them with care. These aren't things he would offer lightly, and they're often shared when love has made him feel secure enough to open that door. Playfulness can also be a form of vulnerability in bed. When he's in love, he may let go of the pressure to be serious or perfect, allowing laughter and light-hearted moments to mix with passion. He might tease you gently, laugh at himself if something unexpected happens, or create little in-jokes in those moments that only the two of you understand. This willingness to be imperfect and still stay connected is another way love dissolves the fear of being judged. It shows that he's not just with you for an idealized version of intimacy, he's with you for the real, unpredictable human experience of it. One of the most powerful forms of vulnerability is simply staying present after. In casual connections, people often pull away quickly, physically or emotionally, once the peak of intimacy passes. But when a man is deeply in love, he lingers. He might keep holding you, resting his forehead against yours, or keeping his hand in yours long after everything has slowed. This is when words aren't even necessary, because the closeness says everything. It's in those quiet after moments that you can feel the full depth of his openness. He's not hiding, not putting the walls back up, just letting himself stay connected because it feels safe and right. Love turns intimacy into more than just physical closeness. It allows a man to reveal his truest self, knowing that he's not just accepted but cherished in return. In that kind of space, vulnerability stops being a risk and becomes a gift he wants to offer. When a man is deeply in love, intimacy doesn't end when the physical moment does. In fact, the moments after can be even more telling than the act itself, because that's when acts of nurturing and care naturally rise to the surface. These gestures are often small, quiet, and easily overlooked if you're only looking for grand displays, but they carry a weight that reveals how much he values your comfort and well-being. They're not about impressing you or ticking a romantic box. They're instinctive responses, driven by a desire to make you feel cared for, protected, and cherished in that vulnerable space you share together. You might notice it in the way he adjusts the blanket around you without being asked, making sure you're warm and comfortable. There's an attentiveness to how he notices small details, whether your hair is sticking to your face from the heat, whether you've shifted into an uncomfortable position, or whether you seem thirsty afterward. Instead of turning inward or focusing solely on himself, his first instinct is to check on you. This awareness doesn't come from habit alone. It comes from the way love makes him attuned to your needs in real time. Even when the moment is over, he's still invested in how you feel. Care in this context isn't always verbal. Sometimes it's in the way he lingers beside you, tracing his fingertips along your arm in slow, comforting patterns, or how he holds you close, letting you rest against his chest until you're ready to move. He doesn't rush you out of the moment because he understands that intimacy isn't only about passion, it's also about the safety and connection that follows. This patience is a kind of care that can't be faked. A man who is deeply in love finds fulfillment in seeing you content, relaxed, and secure in his presence. Physical closeness after intimacy can become its own form of communication, holding you without expectation, letting the room be quiet, and simply sharing warmth are all acts of love disguised as ordinary gestures. They tell you without words that he wants to be there for you beyond the physical exchange. Love creates a sense of responsibility, not in a burdensome way, but in a deeply human way. The responsibility to protect, to nurture, to ensure you feel safe in his arms. These moments can make you feel more connected than the most intense kiss, because they affirm that he's not just with you for the high points, but for the soft, unremarkable ones too. Nurturing can also appear in small, practical ways that might not seem traditionally romantic, but carry deep meaning. He might get up to grab you a glass of water, bring you something to snack on if you're hungry, or offer to adjust the room temperature if he notices you shivering or sweating. These aren't grand gestures, but they show a level of thoughtfulness that reveals his priorities. In those moments, his mind isn't just on himself, it's on you. The very fact that he's thinking about what would make you more comfortable, even in such a private, unguarded space, is a clear sign of love. There's also an emotional aspect to care that's intertwined with the physical. A man deeply in love will often take time to check in on you emotionally afterward, even if it's subtle. He might look into your eyes and ask if you're okay, or he might make a quiet joke to keep the mood light if he senses you feeling self-conscious. His ability to read your emotions and respond in a way that makes you feel understood is another form of nurturing that can only grow from a place of genuine affection and emotional investment. Care in bed when love is present often blends tenderness with protectiveness. There's a sense that he's not just holding you, but holding space for you. Space where you can relax without worry, where you can be exactly as you are without feeling like you need to perform or present yourself in a certain way. This emotional cushioning is subtle, but it has a lasting impact. It builds trust over time, making the relationship stronger both inside and outside the bedroom. Even in playful or casual moments within intimacy, love-driven care will show itself. He might tease you gently, then follow it with a gesture of comfort so you know it's all in fun. He might move his body in a way that shields you from feeling exposed or keeps you comfortable in an awkward position. All of these actions stem from a deeper emotional connection, where your comfort matters just as much as your pleasure. What makes these acts of care so powerful is that they're not tied to any expectation of reciprocation. He's not doing them because he wants you to owe him something. He's doing them because seeing you at ease brings him genuine satisfaction. That's the difference between someone who is simply being polite and someone who is truly invested in you. In love, his instinct to care for you doesn't switch off when the physical intensity fades. It remains, quietly weaving itself into every interaction. The beauty of nurturing in these moments is that it often happens without either of you needing to name it. You just feel it, in the way he tucks you closer without thinking, in the way he checks on you without making it a big deal, in the way he treats the moments after as just as important as the ones before. These quiet, steady acts create a deeper kind of intimacy, one built not just on attraction but on the simple, enduring desire to take care of someone you truly love. When a man is deeply in love, intimacy becomes a space where playfulness can exist alongside passion, without either diminishing the other. This playfulness isn't forced or exaggerated. It grows naturally from trust, comfort, and emotional closeness. In bed, it shows up in the way he allows the moment to be real rather than perfect, embracing the small imperfections and spontaneous shifts that happen. He's not overly concerned about everything looking like a movie scene because the connection matters more than appearances. That freedom creates room for laughter, light-hearted teasing, and small moments of joy that make the intimacy richer and more memorable. Playfulness in this context often comes from a willingness to explore without fear of judgment. He might try something new, not because he's chasing novelty for its own sake, but because he trusts the bond enough to be curious together. He can be silly and serious within the same moment, shifting between the two naturally because he knows that love makes space for both. If something unexpected happens, maybe the blanket slips in a funny way, or you bump heads trying to kiss, he laughs with you instead of letting the mood break. That shared laughter doesn't weaken the connection, it strengthens it, because it's a reminder that you're two real people sharing an experience, not actors performing a scene. There's also an unspoken permission to be themselves without self-consciousness. He's not worried about looking flawless or being in complete control every second, and that relaxed energy makes it easier for you to let go of those pressures too. This openness invites moments where you can make playful comments, share inside jokes, or move in ways that aren't choreographed but feel natural. These moments keep the atmosphere warm and alive, preventing intimacy from becoming repetitive or purely mechanical. Love-driven playfulness often carries a deeper intimacy than it seems on the surface. A teasing smile, a light tickle, or a mischievous glance can communicate affection in ways that words sometimes can't. It's a way of saying, "I'm enjoying this with you," in a language that feels private and unique to the relationship. Over time, these little moments can become part of your shared rhythm, tiny rituals that you look forward to because they're yours alone. They create a sense of closeness that lingers beyond beyond the physical space. Exploration in a loving context also has a gentleness to it. He's not pushing boundaries recklessly or for his own thrill. He's inviting you to join him in curiosity, paying attention to how you respond. That attentiveness ensures that any playfulness feels safe rather than pressured. The trust between you means that even if something doesn't work or feel right, you can adjust without tension. This mutual respect keeps the space open for creativity, where you can experiment with different kinds of touch, pacing, or positions while keeping the emotional bond intact. Sometimes the playfulness is as simple as affectionate banter between moments of closeness, whispering something that makes you both smile, or playfully challenging you in a way that draws you in. These small bursts of light-heartedness help balance the intensity of intimacy, giving you both a break from the weight of emotion so that when you return to it, it feels even deeper. Love makes it possible to navigate these shifts smoothly without losing the sense of connection. Even after the physical moment slows down, the playfulness can linger. He might lightly trace shapes on your skin, invent silly nicknames, or hold you in a way that feels protective and teasing at the same time. It's in these moments that you see how much he enjoys simply being with you, not just in the passionate highs, but in the relaxed afterglow. That enjoyment is a reflection of emotional security. He doesn't need constant stimulation to stay engaged. Your presence itself is enough to keep the connection alive. This kind of intimacy, where love and playfulness mix effortlessly, often becomes a defining feature of a long-term bond. It keeps things fresh without relying on constant reinvention, because it's not about what you're doing, but how you're experiencing it together. The ease, laughter, and shared energy make each moment feel alive, and they remind you both that while love is deep and serious, it's also a space where you can feel light, free, and joyfully yourselves. In the end, when a man is deeply in love, what happens in bed goes far beyond the physical act. His emotional presence, his willingness to be vulnerable, his instinct to nurture, and his natural playfulness all merge to create a space that feels safe, connected, and deeply personal. These moments aren't about performance or perfection. They're about authenticity. Love transforms intimacy into something richer, where every touch, word, and glance carries meaning. It's in these quiet, genuine expressions that you see the difference between attraction and devotion, between fleeting passion and a bond built to last.